You're watching Speed Stars. Hello and welcome to this week's show. So this far we've given pageant winners, philanthropists, magicians, mentalists a chance to prove their mettle on the racetrack. This week it's a turn of two sportsmen, or rather two sportswomen. What I can tell you, these two do know a thing about speed and agility. Let's take a look.
The only problem is I don't want to lose. Don't want to come last.
So, like I said, the brakes are very good.
Put a wheel up on the curb, yeah. Go, that's it, beautiful. Go, 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 go. Wonderful, okay. Flat out, go, 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 go.
Sanani, Bridgitte, welcome to Speed Stars. Did you have fun?
Yes, I did. What a day.
What a day. Bridgitte, you survived.
I survived and I had a lot of nerves, I won't lie.
Why are you girls nervous? I mean, you play sport at the highest level, super competitive. I would think you would be the two that would be the most comfortable with the pressure.
For me, it was unknown. I had never been on a racetrack with a car like that, so it was just being uncomfortable at first. But as the day went on, I was just like, I want to do this more and more and more.
Bridgitte, were there things that you could take from your training and equate it to what was happening from a driving perspective?
Most definitely, and I think it was more during the hot lap that actually when I race, I don't just start and go until I'm extremely tired and I just, oh please, like just get to the line over 500 meters. I actually have a race plan, and we were actually taught how to go around the corners and what to aim for and what to look for, and so there's a process. So then you think about it and you can link it more to, for me, as a race, because then I can say, okay, well, I'm nervous before the start, but once I start, there's a process and you have to aim for certain things, or in the case of my race, I would count my strokes and then I know where I am on the course.
You know, you're part of the team, you've got a setup with the hockey girls. Quite different being said, yeah, you go on your own, see how you do.
Yeah, look, I brought a bit of hockey into it, you do, because it's you taking on different elements. I had to listen, apply, there's obstacles along the way, and that's pretty much hockey. There's obstacles, you know your end goal is try to get the ball in the back of the net, but there's obstacles along the way, so you need to maneuver those, same as a car, we needed to be aware of certain things. But yeah, it was, as I said, as I got used to it, I was in there.
Talk to me quickly before we move on and have a look at what other stuff you got to do on track. Situation, hockey in South Africa at the moment, it's tough. A lot of you are having to ply your trade overseas. It's still kind of run like an amateur setup here, is it not?
Yeah, it is.
Does that affect results ultimately?
For sure, it's run as an amateur sport, but we're competing against professionals. I go to a 9 to 5 and then go to training in the morning, whereas my counterparts overseas, their job is hockey. So it starts to show in the field because the gap is just getting bigger and bigger.
Bridgitte, for you as well, I mean, obviously exciting, Rio next year, you've qualified, but you still pretty much left your own devices here. There isn't the money that gets sent to rugby for paddling.
Yeah, most definitely, and leading up until now, I've spent many months training overseas, and it gets extremely lonely eventually, always traveling by yourself. And whereas if I compare other countries, they go on training camps as a squad, as a team, and they're never having to organize their own flights and plan their training camps. So it's definitely a lot tougher, and I'm planning my camps according to the funding. I need to stick to the plan, whether I have the funding or not, yes.
Well, it's tough for both of you in your careers, but it's also pretty tough out on the road when you're driving. I mean, going sideways and doing donuts might excite the driver and certainly thrill the onlookers, but for swift and safe progress, especially on public roads, it's best to travel in a straight line. So the advent of traction control has made a great deal of this easier. So no matter what road or weather conditions you're driving on, it's going to be a lot better with traction control. Let's take a look at our safety lesson.
There's your 50, then second gear.
Turning our stars into speed stars with two of the best. Multiple production car and touring car champion both locally and abroad, Mike Briggs dominated racing in the sport's glory days here in South Africa. Chop Sapuka changed the face of motorsport in our country and at the same time rewrote the record books in the fiercely competitive world of production car racing. Our stars were transferred from the luxury of the Fairway Hotel to our test facility at Zwartkops Raceway. Set up on the skid pan, our stars would soon appreciate just how important driver aids are in keeping us safely on the road. Imagine you need to swerve to suddenly avoid an object. Sensors in the car relay the sudden and severe steering input to the electronic stability control unit. This sudden movement puts the car into an understeer. In other words, the front of the car doesn't want to turn, but rather drifts towards the obstacle. In this case, in a split second, the ESC will brake the left rear wheel briefly but sharply, countering the natural understeer and allowing the car to respond and turn as the driver intended. But swerving to avoid the obstacle unsettles the car. The rear end gets light and wants to break away, a term known as oversteer, which can easily put the car into a spin. To prevent this, the ESC unit cuts the power and brakes the left front wheel, preventing the car from losing control and keeping it on course. Stability control is such an important driver aid that in certain countries cars may not be sold without it. Unfortunately, South Africa is not one of those markets.
Traction control is another one of those things you may have heard of when you bought a car and you don't know what it does. It's like ABS. It's your guardian angel. It sits on your shoulder. It makes you look like a very good driver. Again, you can switch traction control off, but what we're saying here, we're not going to even bother to demonstrate that for you. Traction control will make, I don't want to call you guys average drivers because you're not, you're brilliant drivers, but it'll make you even better. So leave the traction control on.
Very nice. Hands all over the show, but you're doing very well. Go, 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 go. Okay. Off the clutch, off the clutch, off the clutch. And brakes.
Come on.
There we go. Nicely done.
To demonstrate how these driver aids work, our stars had to navigate our Gymkhana course as quickly as possible, avoiding the cones.
Patience through this part.
Not known for his fancy footwork on the rugby field, John was surprisingly nimble through our course.
That was a contender for fastest. That was spectacular.
This is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. A little bit more speed. There we go. Nice and smooth. A little wider lines. Doesn't have to be too tight. Keep a bit of throttle. Stay nice and smooth on the power. Off the clutch. That's it.
If you drive a nice car, you think you know how to handle it. You know how to handle speed. You know, there's all these things like ABS, ESP, all of that. Most of the time, we don't really know exactly what that's meant to be and what it's meant to do.
Like getting in here, I mean, it's easy. I like went through those cones without even a problem.
The whole exercise teaches you to have a little bit more confidence in what the car can actually do and that it can actually be controlled a little bit better.
Rad.
It's important to remember that stability control is not the same as traction control. The easiest way to explain the difference: traction control prevents a wheel from spinning. Stability control prevents your car from spinning.
Turn in. Oh, there we go. First gear. First gear. There we go.
But there was also time for our stars to have some fun on the skid pan. Cue handbrake turns.
Get ready to make the U-turn. The clutch. Ride the clutch. Ride. That was enthusiastic.
Or in the words of Jack Parrow, that's rad, bro. A lot of fun. I mean, Bridget, you got to play on the skid pan. Sanani, we did some different lessons for you. Anything you learnt out of this? Please tell me yes. Otherwise, we did this for nothing.
I did, definitely. I now pump my tires every week from our lessons because we're also blasé about it. You get to the gas station, you like fill it up, and he goes, tire, water, like, no, I'm in a rush, just get it done. And we learned the difference between perfect tires, pumped perfectly, and deflated tires. Just the control of the car and what you can do, and just the car's a different car when the tires are deflated.
But I suppose, well, Bridget, you know, you go and do your K53, but you don't spend any time really learning how to drive when you do that process. For you, was this a bit of an eye-opener in terms of how far one can go in terms of improving your ability to drive?
I've never been able to almost like lose control as such. I've never tried to do a handbrake turn ever in my life. I've been far too scared, whereas now it allowed you to kind of learn how to have more control of the car. So if something did happen and you could have more control, you could brake, you could swerve, and half the time you think that if that happens, you're most definitely going to roll, and that's not always the case.
I think that's what's critical. Obviously, we're always in controlled environments, but it's just having that time to actually experience and practice. I mean, you spend hours in goal practicing. The more you do it, it becomes reaction. You respond without thinking. We need to do more of that learning to drive.
Yeah, that's a chat we had. I mean, on the day we were out on the track, and I said, K53 is fine, you learn those things, but this is experience. This is, you need to know your car. One, you need to know the different elements on the road, and I find we don't do that. I mean, when you write your test, you go, hey, hill start, and you're done, and then you pass.
No, that is the big frustrating thing. I think if we could get everybody learning to drive by experiencing driving properly, I think we'll have a lot more safer driving experiences out on the roads. Well, there are those of you that argue the ever-increasing number of safety systems in today's cars are making drivers more careless. Add your voice to the debate with our social media at Speedstars SA. Don't go away. After the break, we find out if Bridgitte and Sanani are as quick on tar as they are on water and grass. Thank you for tuning into Speedstars. So it's time now to hand Sanani and Bridgitte over to two other sportsmen who are going to impart some tips on how to tackle Zwartkops.
Okay guys, there was a couple of things I wanted to tell you about this afternoon, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hand over to Larry and he can tell you exactly what I've been thinking. Now seriously guys, now we get to the fun part. Well, the fun part for you and the scary part for most of us. This is where we let you loose on the track. You're going to be going out this afternoon in the Opel Adams. It's a little 1-litre turbo, but don't let that fool you. It's a very quick little car. You're going to have the instructors with you. Take notice of what they tell you. Now's the best time to learn how to go fast, because once we've done that, this afternoon we let you out in the beast, in the Opel OPC.
And you're not going to go fast when you think about going fast. The only time you're going to be fast is when you're patient with the car.
Fetch, going up the hill. Even in third there. Brake, 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 brake. On power, on the power, on the power. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That's very good.
Brake to second gear. Look at the corner, see how sharp it is. Now, get there, and then smooth acceleration out. Stay in second gear for the moment. Soft brake. Look, smoothly turn, smoothly turn. That was quite enthusiastic.
Sorry.
Third gear.
Off the brakes too. To fight your instinct there. Your instinct wants to get in the brakes.
Power, steer for the end of the wall. And now when you feel confident, drive it to the outside curve. Nice.
Second gear. Off the clutch. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
So it's a case of right foot, left foot, hands, both hands steering. Okay, third gear, third gear, third gear. Right.
So this is where things got real for you. The safety was out of the way, and now it was time to go fast. How good were the instructors though? Did you learn a lot?
Yeah, the guys were good. They told us exactly what to do, what cones to look for, where to accelerate, where to decelerate, turn the corners. I was quite happy with my instructors. I hope my time...
We should have had a little competition amongst the instructors to see who ends up top. Bridgitte, have you been on track before?
Never.
First time?
I've gone in a go-kart before, and I actually hated it because I was with my boyfriend and his friends and they were all so into it, and I think I got past 5 times. So I really hated the whole experience.
But maybe if you went go-karting now, after what you've learned, things could be different.
I definitely think it would be, because it was amazing to be told what to aim for, when to brake, and all of a sudden when he says look to the part where you're wanting to drive to, not just, oh wow, I want to go around the corner, then it made such a big difference.
Yeah.
You had so much more control of the car. Brake when he says you must, and then aim for a certain point around the corner, and then you don't feel that deceleration as much.
Well, it's time now for you to be the ultimate critic, and I guess the rest of South Africa. Let's take a look at Bridgitte's hot lap. To ensure a level playing field, the guys from Force Fuel were on hand to top up the OPC's tank after every hot lap. In addition, we asked Chops to set benchmark times throughout the day to account for changing environmental factors like temperature and wind speed.
Okay. I'm ready.
The lights go out, there's no green. When the red goes out,
Then it's
good to go. Very good start.
I was told to talk to myself.
That's actually what I want to see. I want to see my facial expressions when I go.
Point. Follow that, right down. Cecil.
Look, you probably shouldn't do this on the way to work. People would look at you like you're dilly.
Right. Down.
Do you remember talking to yourself?
Yes, but he told me to. I was so nervous. He said just aim for the points and talk to yourself, because then I said I wasn't breathing. Brake. Look at the point.
Oh, some tyre squeal, that's good.
Although they said I shouldn't do that because that slows you down a little bit much. But
If you're
doesn't like
if
the
you're on it,
corner.
it's got to squeal tyres.
yeah, I guess so.
Your start was fantastic.
Oh, good, I'm glad.
It's tricky in a turbo. You don't need to rev it that high, but you look really good off the line. Your time, well, you'll have to wait and see.
Oh, okay. Well, we
But how
can say
did
if
it feel?
it's good or bad.
It
Guess
was
it's hard to
it was
say.
a time.
Okay. I'm getting nervous again.
Okay, let's look at this board. Where do you want to be?
Of course, at the top.
Of course, at the top.
I'm competitive.
No, listen. We saw you were competitive, and you talked to yourself, which is the first sign of insanity. Okay, so I suppose let's get Bridget off the board. You set a time of 1 minute,
Good start.
27.30.
What?
So that puts you at the top of our leaderboard.
Jeepers.
That is fantastic.
I was hoping to be ahead of Larry.
Get in.
You actually said to us that like Larry seemed really conservative and slow.
Yes,
You
but
were
now I'm worried.
you were surprised when you saw his time at a 1:27.96.
I definitely was.
You happy with that?
I guess I am, but now I'm going to wait for all the others, and I'm going to be more critical.
Well, there's one other person you've got to wait for. Sanani Mangisa, super competitive, super focused, said to me she doesn't want to be lost. Is she? Let's find out.
That looks like you're getting married. Who's the lucky man?
Dun, 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 dun. Quite excited. Burn some rubber. Nice and relaxed. Sunday afternoon.
Here's another gear. Huh?
That's why I was like, what is... Jeez, I'm
You
turning like
looked like
that.
you were holding your breath. it by me talking. I
Yeah.
was holding my breath.
Jeepers, I'm riding that clutch though.
It's a very good thing that, I mean, they're breathing because you forget.
Yeah.
Is that just jeepers, sense?
Do you drive a automatic?
No, manual. So I'm like,
Really?
change, Sans, change. They probably had no clutch by the time we took the course back.
No, I'm driving it at the moment. It's got a clutch. I'm loving that focus.
Yeah,
That's why I was like, lots of focus, no talking. That's why I was like, come on. It's so slow now.
From external, always.
Come on.
Cheers.
Sorry, clutch. The clutch is at my house of the car.
It just, it just gears.
Kept the clutch.
And as well as so you drive a manual.
Yes, I do.
I'd never have guessed.
That's why I said to you, best of 3 laps. Season 2, we take it to best of 3 laps.
Is that it?
Because
Now,
that was just a...
We like it's a penalty shootout. You only get one shot at it.
You do, fair.
So how do you think you did? Having seen it now.
Having seen the clutch situation there, I'll be happy if I say 130. So just above Lala.
130
Yeah.
above Lala.
Just above Lala.
Okay, so let's get you out of the way and let's see what lap time you did do. You said a 130.
Yeah, just above Lala.
It is in 130s.
Oh no.
You've got the time of a 1 minute 33.42. So you weren't quicker than Lala,
But I was in the 130s.
but you were quicker than
Yes,
Gilan.
the mentalist.
That's a good thing. I bet you never saw that coming. So well done. That's impressive times. You're not lost, so
Look
that's
who's
good.
in the top 4 girls, eh? Besides
Girls,
Larry.
I'm
but-
very, very impressed. Bridgitte, Sanani, thank you for joining us on Speed Stars. It was lots of fun. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, most definitely. You brought back the nerve from race day.
Well, listen, I mean, Bridgitte, there's a couple more shows to go. You're sitting at the top. You could be the ultimate winner of Speed Stars.
I am worried about John Smith though. I know he was in full control.
Yeah, you were with
And
him
he
on that
looked like
rotation.
He went really fast, so
In
I'm
your
nervous about him.
In your group, who did you think was the one to beat?
There's this random DJ called Rob Forbes.
Yeah,
That guy.
That guy.
He said, I've never done this before.
Oh, yeah.
One of those.
He's been practicing.
Careful.
He's been practicing for days. But Sanani, are you happy with your time?
I lost today, but I'm quite happy with my time, and I'm quite happy that there's 4 girls in the top 5 as it stands. So, yes.
Well, let's see if it remains that way. But thank you very much for joining us. And with that, we've come to the end of our show. In the next installment of Speed Stars, Rob Forbes and Darren Simpson rule the airwaves, but only one can be the king of Zwartkops. So tune in next week to find out who it's going to be. Until then, please take it easy on our roads and buckle up.
Stay in the gear, stay in the gear.
Goodness, it told me.
Turn in. Okay. There, when you brake.
Yeah.
I've got you, don't worry.
You're like Jesus.
I wish.
That was a nice drive, eh? Really great.
A little bit too much speed. Straight, that's better. Okay, a little bit too much speed initially. Yes. Don't be scared to brake.